Lovely to see familiar faces relaxing and having fun. We're now joined by Nigerian-born American citizen Ejike Okpa to discuss more on these two countries' relationship. Thank you very much for giving us your time. 247 years of independence from Great Britain. And one can say this is one similarity the U.S. shares with Nigeria, also a former British colony. What else do you think both countries have in common?
Well, thank you for having me on the show. It's always good when nations recognize how they started, whether from being colonized and then they become independent. But let's not forget, the first Nigerian that was recorded to have entered America was a Calabar man who did that 14 years after the amalgamation in 1918. So you have 105 years of continuous presence of Nigeria. So the two countries, the two people have known each other in terms of history. It was an African country that first recognized America as an independent nation, and that was Morocco. You don't hear that in the history, but Morocco was the first nation to recognize America. That's why America built their first embassy in Tangier, Morocco. So fast forward to 247 years with so many Nigerians now in America who have been educated. The question, that needs a very compelling answer is what has transpired. Electricity was invented in America for better comparison. And so in 1896, Nigeria's first power plant was built. So that's 127 years. For 127 years, where is Nigeria in electricity? Where, with all the education and everything that has transpired, Nigeria is not able to deliver that simple technology that hasn't changed since it was invented. So people talk about direct investment into America. Yes, America wants to invest because, when you invest, you look for return and reward. But Nigeria is not, despite more than a century of relationship, Nigeria is not ripe for American investment. You don't even have a lot of Nigerians, like myself, who are American Nigerians, who are Nigerians, Americans born of Nigerian parents, coming in there and doing significant investment. Yes, you see the remittances in the scale of assessing where to invest. Remittances don't carry any positive factor until you see like a sector in investment. Let's say there's a group of Nigerians with a partnership with Americans say, okay, we're taking over, or we're coming in to invest in what? In the power sector or in the water supply system. No city in Nigeria, maybe Abuja, has a limited supply capacity, has a water system. So you can't be talking about investment when you haven't built the necessary infrastructure. It's not in road construction, it's not in the hardcore infrastructure that is needed. Everybody talks about fintech and technology.
Okay, if I may interject, Mr. Okpa, United States, they're celebrating 247 years, and Nigeria is just about 70. We're not even up to 70 yet.
No,
would it be fair? You say they invented electricity. Considering how far Nigerians have come, you are a Nigerian doing well in the United States. What is the optimistic side? What is the positive impact of the interaction between Nigeria and the U.S. as they commemorate their independence?
Well, your points are well taken. But what I'm saying is that it took America 106 years to have electricity. It took Nigeria getting electricity 64 years before independence. Pay attention to those dates. 1896 was when the first power plant was built in Nigeria, Ijola Power Station. And that was in Lagos area. That was 64 years before 1960. So what I'm saying is that now that we recognize we're in this together, we are two democratic countries, what can we do, given that now you have good number of Nigerians that are in America and who may like to participate in seeing the better side of Nigeria? How do you tap into them? You see, America is a country that has all.
So I think this is another good place to interject and ask you, how can we tap into that? How can folks like yourself and others be encouraged?
But one thing that Nigerians don't do well, or the Nigerian leadership, they don't know how to recruit, they don't know how to war. They think everybody in America has the interest to come back to Nigeria and do something. You have to target those people. what individuals, based on their own experiences, education, and capacity. Not every Nigerian that is in America has something that is transferable to the country. Get that right. What has made the Nigerian in America look very, credible is the exchange rate of the dollar to the naira. But if you remove that, ask them, what is the content of your education? What is the content of your knowledge of the American system of government? How can you compare the various sectors of Nigerian government or business sector with America? A lot of Nigerians don't have that because their interest, while they are present in America, they have no presence. Other immigrants come here and they have banks, they have community, they live in a certain zip code or census tract. Nigerians don't do that. They have big houses, they have big educational titles, but at the end of the day, America measures immigrants based on what is the quantifiable economic contribution to the GDP. So you wouldn't come and say, okay, here's one sector Nigerians are contributing a significant amount of resources.
So from what you're saying, we still have a long way to go to bridge that, interaction gap and bridge that.
You can shorten it. You can shorten it by, doing what I said, target some Nigerians. Target people who have the resources in terms of time and knowledge to come back and sit down with Nigerians and say, hey, here we got to do. If a Nigerian is coming to America, you look for people that can help you carry your message to the American community. Nigerians speak, they don't communicate. That is why there's a misunderstanding between the interests of the two countries. So the Nigerian governments come here and senators, and when you hear them speak, they're not really telling anything to the Americans. Find somebody to help you communicate your message and your interests, and you will get better markets.
I think that's an important distinction, speaking and actually communicating. I hope we can do better at that. The U.S. is preparing for another presidential election, coming barely a year after Nigeria ushered in a new administration. What should we be looking forward to in terms of strengthened bilateral relationship? Do you think the eventual winner can make or mar a better relationship?
Well, relationship, it has to be a two-way traffic. You have something to offer, somebody has something they want from you, and vice versa. So it's not a master-servant relationship. Nigeria should not look at their relationship with any country in terms of, okay, you better, I'm worse off, I'm trying to catch. You have to put your better foot forward. I don't like to use the term best because two legs are only two. So put your better foot forward and then speak to what it is that you want and tell the other person, here's the benefit to you and here's the benefit to me. Money looks for structure. Presently, I'm in the economic development sector. Nigeria doesn't have the structure to attract foreign direct investment that America would like. When I served on the U.S. Exim Bank's Sub-Saharan African Committee, I was the first native African appointed during Trump time. There was billions of dollars that the Trump administration had targeted for Africa under what they called transformative export agenda. What Nigerians or Africans come to do is $5 million, $10 million, $20 million. When you're looking at $36 billion being available, how much can you do of $5 or $10 million in order to dent that money? So we gotta go for the impact, things that are significant. And then you look for Nigerians to come back and do legacy projects. If this is road construction, why do you have China or Lebanese or Turkish people do? You have Nigerian engineers. Some of them work for the state transport department. They have the knowledge. In Nigeria today, you don't have 5,000 miles of well-built highways. So you can achieve that with this new administration. Let's say Tinubu comes in and says, okay, I want to build 10,000 miles, assuming he stays for the next 4 years. I want to build 10,000 miles, and I want to target Nigerians, engineers in America. You guys come back, let's design it, let's you build. You will create more sustainable, valuable jobs than trying to do this, getting Chinese people coming in there and they're lending you money at terms and conditions that choke you. Money is available. We just need to have the structure to get it done.
I guess the new administration. I guess the new administration has its job clearly cut out for them. Thank you very much.
They should talk to me.
I'm sure they're listening and they will reach out to you. Thank you very much for your very insightful comments today. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.